If your life depends on it, you clean it every time you shoot it. And if you don't shoot it and you're carrying it, you clean it every 30 days.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't
Just
shoot
do
it.
it.
Welcome to Paul Gooding and Bill McLaren from 2A Firearms Training. How you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Which one's Paul?
The ugly one.
So which one?
You're Paul, and you're Bill. Okay. All right. Who wants to talk about 2A firearm trainings?
What do you want to know?
Pull that mic. Oh, you can use that. You can use the leashes. It's got the
What do you want to know?
Twinkie dust.
I want to know what's your jam? What's your focus?
Oh, what's your jam?
What do you
These days, primarily, we've been doing the CCW, and as you know, it's changed to 16 hours.
Yeah.
So Bill and I got certified with the DOJ for stop
16
all that
hours.
nonsense.
Oh, you got through?
Yeah,
Oh,
we got
very
through. It took a little time, but
We actually went out and got post-certified. So we
Wow.
killed it
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah,
Doesn't
above and
matter
beyond.
what they do.
Yeah.
They can't touch us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
too many changes, too
Yeah.
many. They don't know what they're doing. So by being post-trained now, we can be DOJ certified.
Well, I
and
mean,
whatever.
they've never known what they're doing.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
have they ever known what they're doing?
No.
That's not new.
Because they're just throwing, you know what, against the wall, and whatever sticks. They don't even care if it's legal. They don't even care. They don't care because they just want to do whatever we can to stop you two guys from doing what you're doing.
Well, most people don't realize that the actual course has been a 16-hour course, but it was only required by SDSO to do an 8-hour. It was their choice not to have to impose the 16 hours. So
Right.
we've had a privilege on that. But Bill and I have had many discussions about the quality of the training that these people are getting because they're coming in fresh, most of them. They're not gun owners. They're not gun
Yeah.
shooters.
Yep.
And in 8 hours, you cannot go through this material and send them on their way
Right.
effectively.
Yeah.
So the 16-hour, I think, is obviously for business, it's extra revenue. But more importantly, we've done a couple of them, and the day 2 is all gun handling. There's none of this PowerPoint presentation. It's a full day of gun handling, working on their skill sets, holster work, safety.
Well,
That's awesome.
See if you could help me with this, okay? Because it makes no sense to me, okay? First off, they want to take our guns away. I said, okay, you can have your guns, but we got to have background checks, and we got to have training, we got to have background checks, and we got to have more training. And then they turn around and find a way to stop the trainers. So somebody's got to explain to me what the problem is here. I mean, if you want us trained, why are you putting roadblocks in front of the trainers?
Well, I think that your statement just answered your own question. If they're going to give roadblocks to getting training, well, darn, we can't. They can't meet the requirements to get their permits.
See, here's the problem we have right now. Because they've gone to 16-hour classes, anybody up to January 1st, if they applied last year, they get to do an 8-hour class. What we're seeing is the 8 hours are slowly
Yeah, you'll get a
disappearing.
drop off. Yeah.
16 hours are not replacing them. We're not seeing as many people come through. I don't know if that's a function of how slow the Sheriff's Department is processing, or it's a function of it now costs double the money.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
when
double
people
the
see
time.
that, that's a whole weekend.
Okay,
now,
what's double the money?
to
So
get
training course.
Training.
No, I know.
Yeah.
So
How much is it?
we have a class for the 8-hour class. Well, if we have to do 2 8-hour classes now, it's 2 days at the same rate. So it's
Okay, what's the
doubling.
same rate? Just for people.
For us, it's $220,
Okay, so it's from 220 to 440.
$440, but that includes 2 guns on your permit, no charge.
Okay, but I think that has a lot to do with it. I mean, yeah, I'll spend $200 and get trained, but I don't know if I'll spend $400.
It's not. It's $400 and 2 days. There's a lot to
And
it.
2 days of
and
your
the,
life.
And 100 rounds of ammunition for your first gun. 50
and
rounds
and
for the
the
second gun.
and the appointment at the sheriff's department. You got
And
to
the
take time
range
off work
fees.
for that. Yeah,
You-
there's a lot.
Stop! I'm going to go buy an Astro van.
Yeah, you and me both.
But you know what? Again, it's roadblocks after roadblock after roadblock after roadblock.
Well, the whole goal has been with SB2. It's been a goal for a long time, but SB2's their crown on the top of the head. If we can't stop people from having a CCW, we're going to make it so damned expensive that they don't want to have it. And just in case, we're going to make it so damn hard to get trained because there won't be any instructors to teach you.
Yeah,
And just for
but
something
guess
in
what?
giggles, they're turning 11% now on the purchase of a firearm.
Yeah.
Just another way
Well, yeah.
of
And that's the thing.
sticking it
They
to the
can
person.
they can say, "Oh no, we didn't make it hard to get." No. We made it easy to get, but here's all the things that go with it now. Yeah.
Well, they have an agenda. I mean, let's face it. You know it, I know it, we know it, they know it, but they don't care. It's their agenda. They're getting ready to put a 30-cent tax on gas.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the politicians actually said, we're working for $20 a gallon, because if we can get it to $20 a gallon, then they'll quit driving and they'll buy electric cars.
Yeah.
That's their goal. And they don't even hide it anymore.
No.
You know, and then the way it's going to be worded as far as from a voting purpose, you'll be voting on it thinking that you're doing a good thing, and you're going to end up at 30 cents a gallon. It's just right around the corner.
Yeah.
What's also unique is that, you know, the police department, police, sheriff, so on and so on, law enforcement, they have to train and they have to qualify and they have to requalify, and they're set to a standard. And yet the civilian can walk through the door, get their permit, and we won't see him again.
Right.
And that's the scary thing for
That's
us as
really
instructors.
Well, when you were talking with, what was his name earlier?
Jim.
Jim. He was talking about that, and we see that. I'll tell you right now, 95% of the people that we see for a CCW class never take another class.
Yeah.
They didn't train beforehand,
Well,
and they never train again.
They're only getting their
I-
CCW, and that's it.
To that notion, there's a lot of people that I have known that had CCWs, and I'm like, whew,
Yep.
let me just have your gun when the time comes.
How many times have you had students come in with a gun, for example, mag in the mag well, loaded and seized and arrested, and they haven't taken out since the last time they shot their qual, 2 years ago?
We see them.
That happens.
Yeah.
We see people coming back for renewals who haven't touched the gun since they took their initial class.
And that's 2 years.
They are the worst shooters
Oh, yeah.
because they haven't done nothing.
Yep.
And they come back, and all that we do is a qualification shoot on a renewal. We're not supposed to be teaching them how to shoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
I had a
Yeah.
student last week, and they showed up, and they were so proud of their new gun. And I asked them when they got it, and they said they picked it up yesterday. And I said, have you even taken it out of the box? They said no. So I said, you're not familiar with it. You haven't checked to see if it's lubricated. And they're going into a qualification shoot, so we can sign a certificate that says run around San Diego with your gun. Scary.
Did you say have a nice day?
Yeah. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
This is why we say with the AR class, we really don't have the time to do anything with these people other than the safe execution of the qualification shoot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now with the 16 hours, we have a whole other day to work on that stuff. What we do is on day one, we actually take them to the range on day one, and we just have them blind. Just go shoot a qualification shoot. And we write down all the safety violations on their target, and we write down all the things they were doing wrong on their target, and we make them take a picture of it.
Nice.
At the end of day two, they go back on the range again, and the difference between the day
Night and
one
day.
student and the day
Yeah,
two
yeah.
student is night and day.
Yeah. I do a similar thing in my training where it's called a now drill, where it's called a now drill because when do you get into a gunfight? Right now,
No.
right? And it's we don't warm up, we don't check anything. We just boom, go shoot, and then we do that same drill at the end of the day, and you can drastically see the improvement.
Right.
And people have to understand, you will not rise to the occasion. You will default to your lowest level of education.
Well, sure.
We have to educate these people on how to train, because they're thinking training is using their iron sights when they have time, it's relaxed.
Yeah.
And we have to tell them the gunfight, as you said, is now. It's a point and shoot situation
Yeah.
under stress, under major duress. And they're not even thinking of that. They're just thinking, I'm going to shoot my qual with my sights.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Alicia came up with there was a gentleman. You remember that guy that you told us about that was bringing his groceries to his apartment, and somebody came up behind him, and they tried to rob him.
Did you hear about the guy up in L.A.?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, he had tea and something in his hands. Well, yeah, and
I mean, he was.
this was in November. Yeah. Thing is, and I don't know. He did interviews. I got to be honest. I didn't listen to all the interviews. I don't know what training he had prior.
But he didn't hit anything.
He didn't. And if you take a look at the video, I'm sure you've seen it, Lee, right? The video. If you take a look, if he came out of his holster with the crappiest grip I've seen. And that, in my opinion, comes down to either a lack of training or a lack to follow that training. And the thing is, in a stressful situation, adrenaline's going to flow. You're going to sink below your lowest level of training. And that's why the training, not only, it shouldn't just be a one-time thing. You need to kind of repeat it, and it needs to be something that muscle memory is there, and you can just go and do it without having to have any thought into it.
And not only that, but people, when's the next time you're getting into a gunfight in a gun range?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I teach people like, hey, learn your space. Learn to get down on a knee. Get in and out of cars. Shoot as you would live life.
Right.
And nobody does that.
That's an interesting thing, because one of the things that I talk to them about in the class is, you've got to make a decision. Are you going to be a hard skills guy, or are you going to be a tactics guy? Because most of the tactics are there to compensate for the lack of hard skills. If you don't have the basic hard skills, you need tactics.
Yeah.
Tactics will take away the need, or hard skills will take away a lot of the need for
Right.
tactics.
Right.
But they will not practice. They will not fix stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why most of the advanced classes that people get are tactics classes.
Yeah.
They're not hard skills classes.
My advanced CCW class, it's a EDC-V. So the whole second half of the day is coming out of a vehicle with your EDC gun out of the concealed carry position. But the first half is basically shooting bullseyes. Because if you can't shoot that, there's no way I'm letting you jump out of a car shooting. No way.
Do you have them jumping out of cars?
No, we don't have jumping out of cars, but one of the things we do is we talk to people about what we call learned reactions. And we're programmed for virtually everything we do in life. We programmed ourselves to do things a certain way. Where did 95% of the general public shoot?
Range.
Range. You ask them what safe direction is, what do they tell you?
Downrange.
Downrange.
Because the guy told me.
That's a lot of real estate.
Yeah.
The street's not like that.
No.
We asked them the question, what's the safe direction on the street?
Right.
It's all dependent.
What's the safe direction in your house? Nothing's bulletproof. You're going to be handling a loaded gun. You've programmed yourself to handle that gun a certain way on the range, keeping it down.
100%.
That's not the street. You can't do that.
Yeah.
What do they need to come in with?
Well, getting the CCW is pretty straightforward. You just got to go through the process. The thing that will help them get the most out of their CCW training is be familiar with your gun. Practice with your gun before you come to the class.
Right.
That way, we have more time to develop you as a shooter than if you're totally unfamiliar with that gun and we're having to take you from stage one, never touched a gun before.
Right.
So
Think of it this way: if you're going to get a driver's license,
You take it.
you don't walk to the and have somebody bring you a car.
Show up and sit in the car for the first time.
Yeah, for the very first time.
Yeah.
I mean, so let me ask you this: what would you guys, because I know you must think about this on a regular basis. What do you think you need to do to get that person to come back for additional training? What's that motivate? There's got to be a motivator of some kind.
It's baffling that it can take 6 months to a year to get your CCW, which gives them so much time to get some lessons and learn about their firearm and shoot.
Yeah.
But they don't. And this is, again, where Bill and I have these conversations. 95% of the people don't even come back and take a private. And so we're trying to figure that out. The big question is, how do we motivate people? And I think it comes down to, how we teach it in the classroom. We have to bring this home to their home and make them realize that they're loading and unloading their firearm now, not on a range where it's safe, but they're doing it, in their home where it could be a bedroom or whatnot, where their children are next door.
Yeah.
And try to find a way to reach into their heart and their soul with their family.
Yeah. Oh, I had somebody tell me one time that they says that they were going to buy a gun and they wanted to get a concealed carry. And I says, cool. He says, we ought to go to the range together. He goes, oh, no. I want to get my CCW first.
I get that all the time.
Well, because they don't know.
Oh, I'll take your class after I get my CCW.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what? So, huh?
I ask the students, have you really talked to your family about this? Because, when you get married, you don't have that talk about sex. It's kind of
Right.
obvious we're not doing that.
Right.
Have you talked to your family? They say, oh, yeah, I've talked to my family. And I'll look and say, no, you haven't. You haven't told them every time you put that gun on, you leave your house exponentially. It's higher that you're either going to die or go to jail today.
Yeah.
And how would you like it if your wife put some sort of stress on you that way? Leaving your house every day, do you have the conversation with your family that you need to do training, you need to invest money in equipment and ammunition and training?
Yeah.
And I try to reach into the gut strings of them.
Is that when their eyeballs get real big?
That's when they start looking down, going, "Oh, I got to spend money." And
Yeah, isn't that funny? They'll spend all the money on a weapon, but then they don't want to train on it. That's like buying a very expensive car, but not getting any.
Well, that's one of my other bugbears is they go out and buy a gun. No experience, don't know. I'm getting a CCW permit. I need a gun. So they go out and they buy a gun. And it's the wrong gun for them.
Well, of course.
It doesn't work for them. They can't shoot it well. Doesn't fit their hand properly. They can't operate it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, well, what do I do with it? The answer is, you're going to spend $700 on a gun, easy. Go take a lesson with an instructor. I don't care if it's me.
Right.
Take a lesson with an instructor and tell them specifically, I want to help choosing a gun. What I do with the guys, we'll do an hour with them. We'll spend half an hour. We use Ironsight's range up in Oceanside because they have literally everything that you could buy for rent. Mm-hmm. And we'll go in there and we'll try a bunch of guns in their hand. We'll make sure they fit. We make sure they can operate them. And then it comes down to personal preference, and we'll take a couple of them out in the range and we'll have them shoot them.
Yeah, 100%.
We're not teaching them a whole, we're just getting them comfortable using the gun.
It wasn't like that during COVID because people were showing up with whatever because there were no guns, if you remember.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean,
So-
I owned a gun store during COVID. So people would come in and just be like, I need a gun. Well, what do you want? I don't care. Just I need a gun. I'm like, ooh, yikes.
That was the great Smith & Wesson Shield pandemic.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
everybody bought Smith & Wesson Shield,
Oh,
and
yeah.
now everybody hates it.
Yeah.
I liked your question, though. You know, it's about training. We've got to get these people to understand that, you know, car accidents and knife accidents, there's lots of different accidents in the world. You have an accident with a firearm,
You're in trouble.
Usually it's a lot of blood comes out of your body or you die. And that's something that your family, again, going back to that.
Well,
really-
and not only that, one of ours, where is it?
I knew we were going with this. Insurance.
Insurance.
Yeah.
I mean, why in good God's name wouldn't you get insurance to, when you're carrying a gun in the event something?
That should mentally be a checkbox in getting the
Well, you got
CCW.
insurance when you drive a car.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you have to.
Right.
And there's another thing. If the government's going to force you to do something, those are the kinds of things that they should force.
Well, you know, they're also trying to write up now. They are trying to put out there that they're trying to put out a requirement to have self-defense insurance if you're going to.
Yeah, that's
Permit.
on. I can't remember what bill that is.
Yeah, I don't
they've
recall
got in the
either.
works.
But yeah, that might be coming down the pike at some point.
I'm not against that. You know, I have CCW insurance or self-protection insurance, I should say. And I think that's a great idea. Even if I don't carry a gun that day, what happens if I punch somebody and he falls down and dies? Yeah. You know, I'm still on the hook. I'm
it's
still
not
on the
all
hook.
gun related. I mean,
No,
it's
not at all. Yeah.
We all carry that insurance.
Yeah.
You're
Absolutely.
a fool not to.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
without a shadow of a doubt. Not to change that, but there's an insurance you can buy. Say you like to go to the desert, and you get out there and you roll your buggy and you have to come in.
Exactly.
That's a $10,000 helicopter flight.
Mm-hmm.
But for $100 and something, you can be covered and it won't cost you anything.
Yeah.
And 90% of the people that go out there don't have that insurance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, we offer it up to them. We use USCCA.
Yeah,
we
that's
offer
what I have
that
as
up
well.
in the classes. We
Yeah.
give them the brochures for it. And the way I put it to them is, why do you have car insurance?
Right.
It's not, I don't have car insurance because if I crash my car, I can't replace it. I have car insurance in case I cause a catastrophic injury to somebody else, and it's
Yeah.
going to cost me
That's right.
life-changing money. Why do I have earthquake insurance?
Right.
Because that's a catastrophic loss that's going to cost me
And
life-changing
if
money.
you don't think shooting someone is
Shooting
catastrophic,
someone is a
Yeah.
catastrophic
Shoot somebody,
life-changing
you'll
money.
find out.
yeah,
Yeah,
There you go. Write a book.
Yeah, right.
life-changing money right there.
yeah. That's what you got to put it to them. It's life-changing money if you
Yeah.
use this gun. 'Cause
Well,
it
not
will
only that,
cost you money.
life-changing, just life.
Yeah.
You know, imagine how often you're going to be in court. You'll probably go to jail. Even if you were in the right, you'll probably go to jail, spend the night there until they figure
And
everything
then all
out.
of a sudden you hear, gosh, I should have bought that insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be a
And-
little
and then-
proactive, not reactive.
Let's be honest. I mean, people who don't have that insurance, they shoot somebody in a totally justified shooting. They don't know what to do next. They call, who knows? They don't have anyone to call. They just get tossed in the legal system and figure it out.
It's crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, and that legal system sucks. I do consulting and specialist witness for homicides that involve guns.
Schwartz is listening live. He's texting me about the show right now.
What's he saying?
He said, "You're never gonna punch someone hard enough to knock them down."
Who said that?
Schwartz.
Who, am I going to have to punch him?
Yeah,
I'm not
somebody.
punching.
No,
Wouldn't be me.
but he's just texting me. He's a funny guy.
Yeah. He texted me. Must not like me.
There's a lot of facets towards the firearms people don't think of, and it's a shame that they buy a gun. How do they store it? They
Yeah.
have a safe. They can't even bring it home properly. So from training to everything we've talked about the last
Lock
20
it up.
minutes.
No, I don't want to lock it
That,
up.
and that's one thing about carry guns too. If you ever see people pull out a carry gun, you're like, how much lint is built up in that sucker? You know, when's the last time this left the holster? Well, when did I qualify last?
Oh, my
We
God.
get that. It's
Yeah.
like
Oh, absolutely.
we tell them, if your life depends on it, you clean it every time you shoot it. And if you don't shoot it and you're carrying it, you clean it every 30 days.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
if you didn't
Just
shoot
do
it.
it.
Because it's full of
20-minute
sweat, lint,
exercise.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And you don't have to take it apart.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, and that's one reason why I won't carry a carry gun with any kind of ports in the slide or any kind of red dot. And I'm just gonna be honest, like those things are just attractants for dirt, sweat,
What'd you
water.
talk about last week? A little piece of lint falling down.
Yeah, we had a guy with an SRO, super high speed. Within 15 minutes, something dropped in front of the emitter, and the red dot was dead. It was on. You could see that it was on, but it would no longer project onto the screen. Within 15 minutes, his super expensive red dot, and if that's your life-saving red dot, ooh, good luck.
I have a question for you, Bill and Paul. Whoever wants to speak up. Do you have a memorable story from one of your students?
We got another hour.
Yeah. That's
Now they're not going to talk.
I'll give you a quick one, okay? We send out an email. When you arrive at the class, all guns need to be completely unloaded, locked in a case. The number of times, because we don't let them, we just tell them, put the case down, unlock it.
Mm-hmm.
We check the gun. We make sure it's unloaded.
Sure.
The number of times, no mag, I rack the slide and a round comes out.
Oh yeah,
I wondered where that
so
went.
often.
yeah.
It's an
That's
interesting
like-
gauge. We send it out 2 days before the class with instructions. Leave your ammo in the car. Bring your unloaded firearms locked in a container to the classroom. And when they don't do it, we get a read on these people before they even sit down to say, who is this person? They can't read.
What
a
do they
letter.
say when that happens?
Oopsie.
Well, I asked him, do you have any ammunition on you? No, I'm not sure. So that means you
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
But we told you to check. We tell them to have their firearms cleaned and prepared before the shoot qualification. Otherwise, we might not be able to pass you with it if it's unsafe.
Right.
And they're dry. So when we're doing our safety check on the firearms, we're learning about the student, how they're transporting it. Is the gun safe and clean? Has it been lubricated?
Just their general gun
or
knowledge.
you get the opposite of guys that you got to handle it and it's dripping wet.
Yeah.
Thinking he thinks it's lubricated. So
Yeah, it's like within the first 10 minutes of any class, I already know who my problem
Yeah.
children are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
That's one. Yeah, I know. Yeah, just from that inspection of the firearm.
And to
how
think
to
they
bring
send it out an instruction on an extremely
Detailed.
important, detailed.
we've written it and rewritten it probably 6-7 times because we all keep coming up with another thing. Do not park in the gun range parking lot. Park in our lot next door. It says that.
and where
And
do
they
they
still
park?
park in the gun.
They park next door at the gun range.
So the other one is, especially the renewals. They turn up. How many guns you got today? One. Is it unloaded? Well, no, I'm wearing it. Didn't you get the email?
Oh, yeah. Is that what that
I'm
meant?
like, okay, go back to your car and unload it. Why can't I unload it in here? Because if you discharge it in here, that's my problem.
Right.
You discharge it in your car, that's your problem. Go ahead and bring it unloaded.
Yeah.
We do
That's
got to
pretty
give
good.
a shout out, though. There's a good segment of students that come to the class. They are prepared. Their guns
Right.
are correctly stored.
It's not
Yeah.
everybody.
and we
Um,
respect that and really appreciate it.
It's
as
the squeaky
instructors.
wheel that gets the grease, right? We're not talking about everyone in general.
So for people that are interested in either courses or private training, how do they reach out to you guys?
They can go to our website, which is the number 2, letters AFTNG.com, or they can call us at 858-737-8662.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. If you're watching mainstream media, you're not getting the truth about guns. Gun Owners Radio is the easiest way to stay on top of the Second Amendment fight, the fight for your self-defense rights. You can watch our live stream on YouTube every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, or if you're in San Diego, AM 1170, FM 96.1, The Answer. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Gun Owners Radio and you'll find our show. Like and subscribe to help defend and restore the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.